Word 2, Episode 4's
Weird 2?
Bloody Bonus.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah. And
We have a lady with us this time.
we do.
A
We do.
girl!
Yeah, it's pretty
Kinda...
amazing. We're going to try and hold our excitement in check.
So Sarah and Jose, thanks so much for sticking around for our Bloody Bonus, which is just for our Patreon subscribers. And it's because of you guys that we're able to keep the show going, keep the Satan's whip on Barry to keep cranking stuff out.
That's how we pay the devil to whip you.
Beatings will continue
With your help.
until morale improves.
So beatings will continue until morale. Where did that saying come
I
from?
don't know.
I think it's a pirate thing. I don't think it's attributed to anybody.
I think it's in a film somewhere because it's in a Rob Zombie song, and he sampled a lot of like stuff from.
Oh
films
yeah, maybe
and
yeah. That would make sense.
I first remember seeing it on a T-shirt at some T-shirt shop in Seattle. Maybe like 2003 or something. I don't know.
Let's retell the show Meme Cast, and we just talk about different phrases. And, who came up with Got Milk? Let's talk about that.
Who came up with Got Milk?
But yeah, so we're 4 episodes into this thing, and we finally got another horror geek to join us.
Finally.
You've been a little busy though.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get here. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you want to share with them why you've been so busy?
Oh, like life and stuff, and
life and stuff,
and getting engaged.
She got engaged, folks. So sorry, she's
got
off
engaged.
The yeah, all of that fun things.
Yeah. How did you do it? Did you guys go I think you went hiking or something?
We went hiking, so we both really like to hike and be outside and all of that fun stuff. So we went to the top of Dewey Point in Yosemite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 4 miles in, and we were going to backpack, but we couldn't get or in the camp overnight, but we couldn't get a wilderness permit in time. So we just went out there and had like a picnic, and then there were kind of a few too many people at Dewey Point, which I didn't know what was going on. So then we just went over to Crocker Point, which was like another mile, which there were less people there, and we had brought up all this camera gear with us because we were going to do a photo shoot, because that's like a cool spot for a photo shoot, the vista of Yosemite on top of a mountain. And I thought that's all we were doing, and surprise!
Yeah.
So then
that's cool, man.
he proposes, and it's all like on film because we had all of the gear with us. And
nice.
yeah, it's pretty clever.
You should cut it into a movie and then show it at the wedding.
And then it's just a montage.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm still waiting.
So awesome.
I'm still waiting for Jose to propose to me. He's already married, but we could move to Utah, I guess.
You know, it's not gonna happen. I'm not a Utah type of guy. Sorry, Barry. Sorry, my friend.
Utah's gorgeous state.
Andy's available, and as far as I know, he loves Utah.
Ooh.
So let's talk to Andy.
That might be a good option for you.
Okay. All right. So the three of us, we have worked together, but we've also done a lot of things not together. But we all kind of worked within the indie film
world. How you
world.
phrase it.
So I kind of thought that we could just maybe talk about what it's like to work in the indie
bubble
thing.
Yeah.
Share some of our experiences, maybe share some insights.
Mm-hmm.
I know probably a lot of our viewers and listeners are not just horror fans, but are interested in maybe making their own movies. And I would absolutely suggest that's probably my phone that just tweeted because I didn't shut it off. What was I saying? Oh, but I would just absolutely suggest to anyone out there, if you want to make a movie, just do it.
Do it. Yep.
Just do it. And
it's really hard.
And
you have to know that. It's not easy.
And finish it.
And
that
finish
is a
it.
Big part of it. A lot
But
of
here's-
people make it and get all excited about that, and then it never gets out.
Yeah.
And that's...
So maybe we'll have in some of our
Yeah.
discussion, we'll have some insights and have some tips. And so Jose, let's start with you. I know maybe last episode we talked a little bit about like your first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because we were talking about VHS
Shot on video movies,
shooting
yeah.
on video. So let's go into a little bit more depth about
Uh-huh.
that, like what the process was for you. Or is it just like, okay, I'm gonna make a movie, and you just kind of figured out along the way? Or, but
I
let me
mean,
ask you
that's
this as
always been
well.
my
Sorry,
thing.
do you have any formal schooling training?
Yeah, I went to film school. I got an associate's in film, and lesson number one: you don't need film school. Use the money you put in film school and make a movie with it. And I didn't want to go to film school, but the parents wanted college and some kind of formal education in it. So I the most I'll do is 2 years. And it's kind of nice. You get you know all the little lingo and terms, and you kind of it's nice to network. But you necessarily don't need it, especially out here in Hollywood. There's so many people who haven't gone to film school that are working. I consider myself a very strong self learner, so I taught myself how to write scripts in high school. So I was writing scripts in high school, and that's because I know what I'm gonna do, so I gotta get started. I don't care about homework. This is what I'm doing. Um, and then as soon as I graduated college, it's like, okay, I'm making a movie. That's it. And I was able to shoot something fairly affordable, and I shot with my friends. It was the best experience I ever had in my life. To this day, it's my favorite filmmaking experience. Um, and but there's other things that they don't teach you in film school, and you don't really necessarily notice when you make a movie. It's not just making it. It's not just writing it and getting it made. That could be fairly easy. You can write anything. You can shoot it now so easily with the cameras, and you can edit it. You can do that at home. The problem is getting people to watch it. The problem is getting somebody to say, "I back you, and I back this project, and I'm going to distribute it." Distribution is the number one problem in indie filmmaking. It's not so much making the movie; it's what is your product, and is someone else going to like it enough to put their money behind it to show it to other people, and then hopefully those people will say, "Hey, it's good. Go see it," and the word spreads. That's the toughest part.
That brings something up, and then we can kind of go back to some of Sarah's early experiences. But Sarah, you act in a lot of movies. Do you kind of have to, after you're done, kind of just separate yourself from, Jose was saying, like, it's so hard to get distribution.
Yeah.
Do you kind of, like, are you able to just kind of cut the cord and be like, okay, I did my work on this, and if it comes out, if it comes out.
Right,
If
it's
it
your
doesn't,
problem
it
now.
doesn't.
And I mean, well, sometimes you're glad that they don't come out.
Yeah.
To be honest, but for the most part, yeah, you kind of do, and it can take years. Honestly, I did a movie 7 years ago that is just now getting released because that's how long it took.
Wow.
For them
That's long,
to
yeah.
finally get distribution. But you just kind of like, you just gotta let it go and hope that, first of all, hope the post-production process is done well and done correctly, and done,
Yeah.
so that when the movie's out, that it's as good as you thought or hoped that it would be.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they don't go anywhere. Sometimes they just sit on the shelf, and as an actor, really all that you can do is have a good relationship with the production team, so that hopefully you can be involved in their next one, because maybe their next one will go somewhere.
Yeah.
Or you can also just contact them and be like, well, I know that this isn't out yet, it's not out for distribution, but can I at least get a copy of this scene?
Yeah.
So that you have something for your reel, so you
Right.
can show your work, because you put in all this work, and if it's not getting out there, I mean, at least take a little bit of that, so you can promote yourself to get more projects after that.
And that's a good thing. Sorry, Karina. It's a good thing
No.
to mention for actors who are sort of debating whether to be in indie movies or not. A lot of times you need footage.
Oh,
you
yeah.
need stuff for your reel.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of actors out there who will work for nothing or for very little just to be able to say, "I love this one scene. If I could get this on camera, then that's that I can take that and hopefully build a career off of that."
Or even people that have a lot of footage, if it's something that this is a character that I don't have any footage of this, and it's like, I want to do this and I'd be great at it, but I've never had the opportunity to play that kind of role. Do it for very cheap, because that way at least you have that. Then you can prove to the people, the bigger, higher project people, that you
Right.
can do this, and yeah, you'll have it right there in front of you. Just like, take a look.
So for some of those actors out there, I mean,
Some of them. Not the other. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to you, not you.
Sarah, can you? I mean, one thing that I do want to say, and I know this for a fact, like Sarah works extremely hard. Like for those of you actors out there, and even a creative as well, but especially for actors, like it's not about looks, and it's not even a lot of times not about talent. I mean, there are a lot of talented, good-looking people in this town, but man, you have to work your ass off.
Yeah,
you have to work so hard.
Who knows you? Not who you know. Who knows you?
Yeah.
That's honestly really a big part of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And your reputation. Your reputation is very, very important. Really.
Yes, and that's something. So I mean,
especially at this level too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
definitely.
and if
all these guys talk. You know,
everyone knows everybody or knows somebody that knows somebody, and if you just had like one bad day on set and you were just like a raging bitch or whatever, that's what people are going to talk about.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And I mean, obviously, hopefully, people don't get nailed in that one bad day because we all have bad days. But so much of the indie world is, I mean, and most people that I work with, or that I'm sure we work with, like, do have good attitudes. But like, for those of you who may be thinking about coming to Los Angeles, maybe like, just trying to do PA work and work your way up or whatever, that's great. But I can tell you, don't be a dick. Like, that is my number one piece of advice. Like, just don't be a dick.
And don't have an ego.
And don't have an ego. Like,
it's
I mean,
okay to have standards, to be like,
yes.
I'm not comfortable with this, or that's, I don't really want to do that, but don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
specifically for actors, if you don't want to get naked, don't.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Like,
but
be upfront about that too.
Yeah.
Don't agree to a part that has nudity in it, and then after you're cast and already shooting, be like, "Oh, whoops, I'm not going to do it."
Yeah,
no.
And that's happened. I actually, a friend of mine worked on a movie where that happened, where it was a teen sex comedy, and she was the lead.
Yeah.
And then they're like 6 days in, and she goes, "Oh, I'm not getting naked now," and they had to reshoot.
That's so take a little page from this sticks out so much, and it's not just applied to nudity. It's probably for like things that are big in your movie schedule, but especially nudity. Lloyd Kaufman, in his book, there's 2 that he wrote, Make Your Own Damn Movie and Everything I Need to Know About Movies I Learned from the Toxic Avenger. And I can't remember which book this was in, but he gives the advice, if you ever have nudity in your movie, shoot it on day one.
Yeah.
Very true. Or sex
shoot
scenes
it on day one. Yes, sex scenes.
Like that.
Because not only does it just get it out of the way for the actors, and it's not in the back of their mind like, oh god, like day 6 is like I got that big scene where like I got a sex scene. That's part of it, but then also to make sure that the actors don't get you as a producer in a compromising position where it's like, okay, you've already shot all this footage and now maybe your Spanish or European investors are like, yeah, we'll give you a distribution deal, but only if this person does this sex scene or whatever.
Right.
And then you get yourself screwed. But yeah.
Rule number 2: shoot titties on the first day.
But
it's a good rule.
it is a good rule. But just to wrap up, rule number 1, yeah, I mean, just don't be a dick. I mean, I do this, but like I also have to do stuff to make money. Hopefully, now that we started the Patreon, like we can start getting some kind of income so I can sleep and eat and do things like that. But I also production manage and at times location manage. And I just can't tell you guys how many times on set, if I'm production managing, then I can fire someone, or I can say like, hey, just don't come back. When I'm location managing, I obviously can't do that. But, on indie shoots, the sort of core decision-making team is so small. I mean, you're usually talking about like one person or 2 or 3 that's like making all the decisions, and all the pressure and stress is on them. But it's like, if somebody's a dick, it's just, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like, don't come back. Like, we
Or just
it's not worth it
difficult to
for
work
us.
with, or
Yeah.
maintenance or any of that sort of stuff. Someone that's not a team player, basically.
Yeah.
I, mean,
Like-
I think a dick can ruin a set, like, I think worse than like a disaster or something. I think just
Yeah.
that negative energy.
It's infectious.
Yeah.
And it becomes malignant. And I've worked on plenty of other shows where like the producer, for whatever reason, or the line producer or the UPM doesn't get rid of that person, and it's malignant. Like it spreads, and it just gives the whole shoot just this off feeling, and then
Yeah.
people stop enjoying being there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, at this level,
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of times you're paying people minimum wage, and people, take the jobs knowing that, okay, I'm going to be making $150 a day, but it's good experience, or I enjoy. Let's say I hire Jose, and because he enjoys working with me, and then there's just some asshole on set, and it makes Jose's experience, go downhill, and it's like people don't enjoy being there, and they get grumpy, and so anyway, I'll get off that rant. But
I'll say I production managed once, and everybody on that set was a bitter asshole. And there was one, it was a makeup artist, and for some reason she hated me, like disrespected, hated me. And the main producer was like, you can fire her if you want, but I couldn't because the main guy was the director, and that was her friend, and that was his friend. So I couldn't fire the director's friend. So I had to put up with her. But that's the reason I will never production manage again. That's not my thing. I'm a creative, and I wash my hands. It's such an awful. I don't even want to make movies anymore. I think this is just the worst thing ever.
And if anyone ever came to you and said, "Hey, what do you think of so and so? Should I hire them?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's,
I would absolutely no. Her name is Branwyn, by the way.
So Sarah, when did you? I mean, I know, and you can talk about this in as much detail as you want, or not. But I know that you're looking to audition and do some things outside of the horror genre. But when did you, as an actor, sort of say, "Hey, I dig this. Like, I like this."
Well, I always was acting. Like I was in school plays in middle school, elementary school, high school, all the way through. There wasn't really a specific time where I was like, I want to do horror. That was never something that came out or that I would really was like, this is the goal or the path that I want to do. I kind of just fell into it because I was going to Emerson College in Boston, and I was getting a theater degree. And just like you said, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing it. I'm like, I know what I want to do, rather than just staying in class, which again, parents want traditional schooling.
Understood, yeah.
So that's what you
seem to want
do.
that.
But I'm also like, I'm in Boston. There's got to be some sort of film happening in Boston. So I started looking around the area for independent film. And I went and I started auditioning for independent film while I was still in school. And I fell in with a production team in Rhode Island called Scorpio Film Releasing, which was headed by Richard Griffin and Ted Marr. And at the time, they were one of the biggest film producers in that area. And since then, I've done 9 feature films with them that have all been distributed. And that's really what put me on the map, was their work, because especially in that area, their work had recognition behind it. And all of their films were horror films. So I always liked horror, like personally myself, enjoyed watching it, but I had never been in a horror movie before that. Like that was my first horror movie was Splatter Disco, and I'm acting with Debbie Rochon and Ken Foray and Lynn Lowry and all these people that have done all of these things. I was like, oh my god, this is a real movie. These are real actors, and it was great and it was amazing. And so work begets work. And so the more work I did, then the more people in the area heard about me and reached out to me and offered me roles or asked me to audition for things. And that's kind of it just snowballs. So that's really word of mouth and reputation.
Right. Well, and you guys talked about Scream Queens this episode, right?
We did, yeah.
So none of those Scream Queens kind of set out to be, I'm going to be a Scream Queen. It just kind of happened.
Yeah. There are people that do set out to be Scream Queens, though. I will say that,
but
especially with social media.
I don't think it ever works out. when they make
Yeah,
it so
I mean,
obvious.
Now,
Yeah.
in these days, I think some people do sort of set out with that goal, but
And
yeah, in the
proclaim
past,
themselves to be scream queens as well. There's definitely
That's the thing. You can't claim it
can't-
yourself.
no,
it has to be
not at all.
handed to you.
Yes, absolutely. That's not a I'm a scream. No, that's a title that is bestowed upon you,
Right.
not something that.
Because I could say I'm the king of Egypt, but I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to be. I've never been.
I'd love to go to Egypt.
Yeah, I haven't either.
One day.
Oh
We'll
my
shoot an
gosh.
episode in Egypt.
Yes, and let's go to Egypt.
Wait.
Hey, Patreon, send us to Egypt.
If you donate $1,000 each cast member, we may be able to make it happen.
Maybe. Maybe.
We'll do a mummy episode, man.
Oh my
That'd be
god,
awesome.
that'd be amazing.
So Egypt, yeah, that would
Yeah.
be fun. Where else could we, if we had our
It's up to them.
Dream.
It's up to them.
So,
Wherever they want to send us.
Wherever we
you
will
know.
go, anywhere you want us.
I would love to
The
go
Yucatan.
to northern Britain and do like a druid.
Or like werewolf on like the moors.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
Or Maine, like fog lighthouses and like.
I could get us to some good spots in Maine. I lived in
Yeah.
Maine for 4 years.
I'd like to go to
It's
Maine, but it's full of clowns
an
and
interesting place.
and crazy guys. So I don't know that I want to go.
I could take you right to Stephen King's house. His house is pretty cool.
Does he have like super security, or can you just like walk up and knock on his door?
You can't walk up and knock on his door, but there's no like security.
You know, like guys with machine guns.
It's in this part of Bangor, Maine, that is kind of up on a hill, and it was these huge, big old houses that were built probably middle 19th century, or probably toward the later end of the 19th century, I think, when like the timber industry really boomed. So like these old houses there were like houses that the timber barons built, and he lives in one of those.
Oh, nice! I've
And
seen
it's
pictures.
really, really neat. There's a big wrought iron fence in front, and yeah, you can go up there. He drives, or at least the last time I was there in 2010, he drove a Toyota Prius.
Oh, really?
So it's like this.
If I were him, I'd drive like a gold
so-
car. Yeah.
So it's like this hybrid
Gold
car,
DeLorean.
like sitting like under this kind of this gothic looking old house. It's pretty
Well, that's
funny.
funny.
Awesome.
You should drive like a hearse or something. That seems like.
Those don't get good gas mileage.
Well, I mean, he lives in Bangor. It's not like he's gonna like be driving. Like the country store's like right around the corner.
Yeah. I saw him in a restaurant in Portland, Maine once. Anyway. Well, we got to wrap this up, unfortunately, but let's think about some parting advice. Parting words of wisdom.
Jump right in. Don't wait. We'll get to LA as soon as possible. Also, I would recommend that to actors. Definitely, if you think like you're starting somewhere else and then you move here, whatever you've done before is kind of not gonna matter, honestly, because LA is its own like clicky thing.
Yeah.
So you need to get here and start here as quickly as possible, because that other stuff that you think is
Yeah.
important,
That's
no
good.
one's gonna care.
That's good advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And within that, I mean, network is I can become a hermit really easily just because, especially doing this, it's like we shoot this episode and then I edit for 4 days. And like, I'm pretty bad about getting out and seeing people, but it is important, especially when you first get here, to just like find some kind of. So I know for me, unfortunately, it's gone. But for me, it was Jump Cut Cafe when I got here, and it helped me like meet some people, and that's really important. And that kind of fits into what we were talking about before. Is like, I mean, look, if you're an asshole and you're just a bad person, don't try to be a good person. Just be a dick and see how far that gets you. But I mean, if you're a genuine, like, nice person who wants to learn some things, like, people will give you some time. I mean, they're not gonna, like, take 5 days out of their week and, help rewrite your screenplay.
Don't be too needy. Like, give people their space.
Yeah.
But at the same
But,
time.
I mean, if you're a nice person, if you're genuine, like, you will find people who will give you advice, if they can, maybe give you a job or at least an internship on something, and you never know where it might lead to.
Who
but-
you'll meet on that next job that will then refer you to your
Yeah.
next job, and so on and so forth.
My advice would be, it's easy to get free work, so do it, because you're helping somebody else's dream come true. However, you're learning experience, you're building a network. I barely pay anybody anything. It's usually because I'm paying out of pocket for my movies, so I can't offer them thousands of dollars. But I'm loyal to those people. I work usually with the same people all the time, and I will, at the drop of a hat, go and be a grip on their movie or whatever. I will hold a boom. And I think that's important. I think that you're talking about community, and I think community, sometimes in the horror community, can be a little hard to find. Most people are kind of in it for themselves, but you can't love this business. And we all sort of came in for the same reason. We love this thing. We love creating art, and so it's important to not only build that community and that network, but I guess stay humble to it and be able to help anybody at the drop of a hat. And sometimes you can and you can't, but if you want to do it, just make sure you're ready to stick to it, because it's very hard. You're not just gonna write a script and get it sold the next day. That almost never happens. You read in the trades, these people making $1 million sales. That is so rare, and
it took them so long to get there.
Yeah, I guarantee you that wasn't a thing that somebody read it and say, "Here's $1 million." That's weeks, maybe months of getting to that point. It's a long haul. And that's it.
To touch base or to touch on that, and then we do have to wrap this up. But from a writer's perspective, I know. Do you write in some of your spare time?
I used to.
Yeah.
Not
I mean, I know
more.
Jose and I write a lot. Like, he's sold some scripts, and I know we both got like a bunch of scripts ready to go. Like, I would advise, if someone would have told me this, even like in my 20s, and I would have listened to them, it might have helped me some. Like, write, if you think you have like the next Scream, like, write that movie, do it. But then have that buffered by like some scripts that can be made in someone's backyard, or write. Found footage is kind of out of favor now, but still those movies get made. Or if you,
Right.
I mean, you can make that. Like, you can make that movie with your friends in 5 days. My point is, if you think you have the next blockbuster, that's great. Write it. Maybe write another one of those, but then write 3, 4, 5 other scripts that can be done on essentially. Or write one at the no budget level.
Yeah.
Write one at like an ultra low budget level, and have things ready to go, because
you never know
yeah.
when you're gonna need to pull out anything
Right.
from anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's hard as a writer to get people to read it, because that takes time.
It's
not like, oh, here, check
extremely
out my reel. It's 3 minutes.
3 minutes to
But
1
it's like
minute.
you're looking 90 to 120 pages. And sometimes this is what they'll do. Let me see. Do 1 page. You know what? It wasn't for me. And that's 100% what they'll do. Or they'll give it to an intern who will read it, and that's a bitter, frustrated writer. And he'll say, I could do this better than this guy. Fuck this guy. The industry sucks, and it's very difficult.
But don't give up. That's kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
Stick with it. Just stick with it.
If
It sucks, but stick with it.
If you think it's important to you, that's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, I think don't just become a punching bag. But if you feel in your heart this is it, then you gotta stay in the fight, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Well, this is tough for me, because this has been maybe like just feeling some good like vibes from this bloody bonus. Not I love the other ones, but
No, this is the best one because of me.
It's hard for me
It's
to.
because you got a girl now. Come
we
on.
got.
It's hard.
A
It's hard for me
female.
to pull. It's
Yes.
hard for me to pull the plug on this, but I have to. We've got to get on to some other stuff. So, thank you, Sarah,
you.
for being with us.
Yay.
Hopefully
Yay,
we'll have
Sarah.
you back really soon. And all right, everybody, take care.
Bye. Thanks for watching our boners.
Stay geeky.